Hi folks, it's Silver Dave, and in this video I want to talk about 5 silver price scenarios. They're based on various types of data, just some possible scenarios that could unfold. With no further ado, the first one is the gold to silver ratio price scenario. And in this particular scenario, we look at the gold to silver ratio, which right now the gold to silver ratio is about 1 to 85, meaning that about 85 ounces of silver equals 1 ounce of gold in dollar valuation. Now, that number is very, very far off from what we have seen throughout most of the documented history of silver and gold coinage. For most of the past 1,000 years, we have seen silver and gold around the world at typically a 1 to 15 ratio, meaning that 1 ounce of gold would equal 15 ounces of silver. So, in this scenario, the gold price doesn't change at all. It stays right around $2,400. I should note that in this video, we're filming this video today, but this video releases in the next few days, but the price may change to some degree. So if I'm off by $1 or something like that on the spot price when you watch this video, just bear in mind that that might be just the change in the market the day that this video releases. So just be aware of that, and if it changes $1 or whatnot, don't be upset with me. This is just based on today's numbers. So here we go. So if gold does not change at all and it stays at 2,400, then if the silver was to go back to the nominal ratio of 1 to 15 of gold, that would put the silver price at $157 per ounce. Pretty good. Now, that's the first one. We're gonna climb our way up. And as we go through these different price scenarios, you're gonna see how it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, which one is the one that will unfold? We don't know. It could be any one of these or some combination there above. Though, I tend to think that the silver price is gonna go somewhere in this range and somewhere in the low to the high end of this range. So we'll see. All right. Okay, number 2 is the geological data silver price scenario. If you didn't know, silver is typically mined as a byproduct of gold and copper mining. And roughly for every ounce of gold that is mined, typically about 10 ounces of silver come with it. And it's often referred to as a silver lining. Additionally, basic geological data suggests that there is approximately 10 times as much silver in the surface of the earth as there is gold. Furthermore, silver is used in industry to a greater number of ounces than gold. And in fact, most of the silver that is produced is consumed every year, whereas most of the gold that is produced is recycled and is kept and is tracked. And this has a lot to do with why I think that the paper silver ratio is so much further askew than gold, because it's easier to flam the numbers on silver because it's harder to track how much silver there actually is. Now, based on the geological data silver price scenario, this would lead me to peg silver at 10% of the price of gold. And right now, with gold at $2,400, that puts silver at $240 per ounce. With gold not changing at all, and silver being at 10% of gold, that's $240 an ounce. All right, here we go, folks. Number 3, monetary silver price scenario. Now, the way this scenario works is that if silver was to become a monetary use metal again, meaning that people were to trade silver for goods and service on a large scale, which was the common thing for thousands of years throughout history. Only since 1965 have we switched to a near entirely fiat monetary system with which virtually no silver is used to buy goods and services. And also, it is largely known that less than 1% of Americans are interested in physical silver and or are accumulating physical silver in terms of bullion or investment silver or coins. And so less than 1% of Americans stack silver, basically. Now, if silver was to become a monetary use metal, meaning that people are going to use it to buy goods and services on a large scale, like we said, this used to be the thing. This is the abnormal, that we're in a place where people are not using silver and gold. Now, if people were using silver and gold, that would take a lot of the silver and gold and would put it into circulation. And if it was in circulation, that would affect the supply, would affect the price. Now, basically, if less than 1% of Americans are using silver and that it became a popular thing, for this scenario, we're going to just use 51% as the number. And so we're going to say, imagine if 51% of Americans were using silver to buy goods and services. And then for simple math, we're going to just go ahead and say that 1% of Americans use silver now, which is a little bit higher. So this number actually could be higher than what we calculate. But for simplistic purposes, for this scenario, we're going to take the silver price that we have, which right now around $28, and we are going to multiply it by 51. And if we do that, that gives us $1,428 per ounce silver. And that's if silver are being used in circulation, buying goods and services. That's right, $1,428 per ounce. That's the third scenario. But don't worry, we have 2 more scenarios to go. And I can't wait for you to hear these last 2. All right, folks, here we go. Number 4. The 4th scenario is the paper silver bubble pop price scenario. In this scenario, the paper silver bubble pops. Now, what is the paper silver bubble? The paper silver bubble is essentially the entire silver market, which is around $3.4 trillion, and it is over more than 99.75% paper. That's right, more than 99.75% paper. Right now, the Wall Street futures traders are selling approximately 403 ounces of silver on paper for every 1 ounce of silver that is produced. 403 ounces of silver that they sell on paper for every 1 ounce of silver that is produced. Now, here's how this could play out. Guys that need silver to manufacture items, they need silver as a raw material. And I'm just going to use an example, and that would be Apple Computer. Apple Computer needs silver to make their products, and they're not going to want to shut down and just stop making computers, so they need more silver. And so, for example, when they call up and make an order of silver sometime in the future, and the supplier says, we cannot provide the silver right now, we need more time, and Apple Computers, well, we're confused because we understand that you have on your reports that you have, this many millions of ounces of silver. How is it that you can't send us the silver we need? Well, they say they need more time. Well, people that work at Apple Computers get word. Apple Computers is calling up other suppliers trying to get the silver. They're having trouble getting physical silver, even though it appears that there's huge amounts of silver. Of course, there's mostly just huge amounts of paper. And so when they have trouble getting physical delivery of their silver, and the people that work for them find out and start spreading rumors about that they're having trouble getting silver, a panic ensues, and then more people want to take physical delivery of their silver. Meanwhile, the companies that have the paper silver, they don't have silver. They have paper promises for silver. They can't deliver. And when people have trouble getting their silver, then a widespread panic ensues and the price of silver skyrockets. And it goes very, very high because people who have physical silver see the prices going up so much, they don't want to sell yet. They're holding because it keeps going up. And the people who need silver, they're willing to pay whatever it takes to get the silver. And the guys who have all the paper silver operations, they don't have the silver to deliver, and they don't have the money either because they didn't have the silver to make the gains, to have the money to pay the gains, to cash settle people either. And now, in this scenario, the paper silver bubble pop price scenario, we see the price of silver go to the market cap of silver divided by the amount of actual silver that exists. And in this case, 403 ounces of silver on paper versus 1 ounce of silver produced. So it's a 403x silver price correction. And so what does that number look like? And what that number looks like, $11,284 per ounce silver. And now by this point, if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking, Silver Dave, you're crazy. You're crazy. That's insane. Well, wait till you hear the next one. And then you'll really think I'm crazy if you think I'm crazy already. But before I say the next one, just to help you maybe not think I'm as crazy, and that is to mention that in the 1920s, when Weimar Germany hyperinflated their currency, and you see these pictures of people with wheelbarrows of German marks, and they're burning them in their furnaces to heat their house, and they're not able to spend them because they're so worthless, because they are inflated so fast. During that time period, there are a multitude of stories and or books and writings whereby people bought entire buildings in downtown Berlin with 30 or 50 ounces of silver. We're talking about entire buildings in downtown Berlin with 30 to 50 ounces of silver. So, really interesting data point. Now, that was the paper silver bubble pop price scenario. All right, folks, here we go. The fifth silver price scenario. This one is the biggest. the most wild and exciting. All right, this one is paper gold bubble pop to silver gold ratio nominalization. Once again, this is the paper gold bubble pop to silver gold ratio nominalization. And so in this scenario, we take the paper gold ratio, which right now the paper gold ratio is approximately 127 to 1, meaning that the wonderful and honest folks in the futures commodities markets, wonderful honest folks, they are selling 127 ounces of gold for every 1 ounce of gold that is produced. Once again, the futures commodities traders are selling 127 ounces of gold on paper for every 1 ounce of gold produced. Wow. That alone, but the silver number we heard, the silver number is a lot higher. Now, as we go further into this, in this scenario, it is similar to the paper silver bubble pop, except that in this case, the gold, paper gold bubble pops. The same scenario where people want to take physical delivery of their gold, but they can't get the gold because most of the gold doesn't exist by a lot, 127 to 1. So most of this gold isn't there. People want to take delivery of the gold. They can't get delivery of the gold. And a panic ensues, kind of like the last scenario. It's like a run on the bank. People then see the price of physical gold going up, and they can't get the gold. People who have gold are clenching their fists tight on it because they see the price is just skyrocketing. And so, in this scenario, we see the price of gold go to where the physical gold price replaces the paper gold in the marketplace. And we see the gold market cap be divided by the ounces of actual gold, not paper gold. And in this scenario, first, I don't know if you're sitting down. Maybe you want to sit down, maybe you want to take a sip of your coffee or your lemonade. All right, here we go. In this scenario, we see the price of gold, $2,400, multiplied by 127, giving us $307,200 per ounce gold. Let me say that again. $307,200 per ounce for gold. And then we take that gold number and we divide by the silver gold ratio, which should be 1 to 15. And so we divide the 307,000 by 15 and we get $20,480 per ounce silver. That's again $20,480 per ounce silver. Wow. Now, so that's the fifth scenario. Now, finally, I want to put a caveat at the end of this, because in those last two scenarios, I have largely theorized that when the paper or when the gold or the silver paper bubble pops, when either the paper gold or the paper silver bubble pops and the prices start skyrocketing, I have largely believed that the spot price stops ticking. What I mean by that is as the price starts going up so significantly and the people in the futures commodity market don't have the metal to deliver and they essentially go bankrupt because they can't fulfill the delivery of the silver, and they also can't pay the cash or dollar settlement either, because they didn't have the actual metal to have had the actual gains, to have had the money to be able to pay what they owe. So therefore, when this price starts skyrocketing, before we see the silver price hit some of those incredibly high numbers, I would theorize that we see the spot price stop ticking, because the futures commodities traders are not going to go to work when there are giant mobs of angry people in the street on their way into the building. And furthermore, they'd be getting thousands and thousands of calls a day from people that want their silver or their money. And these guys don't have it. And so they don't come to work, and the futures market has to close because of an emergency, and they shut it down. And in turn, the spot price stops ticking. So whereas we might see the silver price go, $500 an ounce, $800 an ounce, $1,200 an ounce, and where it would have kept going and going, but that at some point on this steep trajectory, it stops. And the last price we see is the last spot ticker. And then, for example, it's Monday, and we see that the spot price went up to $850 per ounce silver, and then the graph stops. And then each day that goes by, there's no new spot. Now, this would be that the silver price would have gone to some of these numbers I mentioned, except for the fact that the spot price stopped ticking. And so now there's only your local and direct market valuation, which is whatever you actually trade your silver or gold for is what represents the current market price. So it may be a little bit more complicated to figure out what to trade your silver for, but that people will know it's worth a boatload of money. And my theory has long been that the smallest piece of silver that you have will buy most things in the marketplace that you want. The littlest piece of silver you have. So if you have only 10-ounce bars, well, everything you buy is going to cost a whole 10-ounce bar. If you have 1/10 ounce silver, then 1/10 ounce silver each time you give someone. They'll be happy to give you whatever you want from their stand. So that is the 5 silver price scenarios explained. I hope you liked this video. I hope it was informative. If you like this video, I hope you'll share it with your friends, and also please subscribe to our YouTube for more videos so you'll be alerted when we're making a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Silver Dave at LocalSilverMint in Ware, New Hampshire, reminding you to stock it up.